What is going on, guys? Happy first day of summer. Tuesday, June 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern, Comic News Weekly, or for those listening to the audio podcast or watching this later on demand, I guess you could say. But we have another great show for you tonight. In Comic News Weekly, we're going to discuss about Marvel has acquired the rights to Planet of the Apes. We got a new comic coming from Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. And we have some more Ezra Miller news. We love to talk about Ezra Miller on this show, and boy, is it getting fun to talk about. But before we do that, let's bring the people, the panelists, the goodness into this show. And starting with the amazing with Brian McClay, which is about to be renamed, but we got Mr. Brian McClay.
Very close, brother. Less than 100 subscribers away from 1,000.
Yeah, so subscribe now so you can witness the change yourself.
Yep,
The
very
link
close.
to his YouTube channel is in the description of this video as well.
Yeah.
But the guy that's not changing the name of his show and has another great YouTube channel himself, we have Mr. Dan Kim, The Dank Show.
What up, everyone? Good to be here. Quite a week.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about how bad Bitcoin's doing, but it's great to be here.
Yeah. Yep.
And Mr. Rhinoverse himself, you guys can find him on Instagram, Facebook. He's even got a YouTube channel as well, Mr. Ryan Hayslip.
What's going on? Fresh off that con, ready to get down so I can turn that frown upside down.
Pros, you need to write that pros down. And then, of course, Mr. Producer, Mr. Alberto Jefe, we have that Comic Man Andy YouTube channel, Mr. Comic Man Andy.
What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Let's kick it.
Yeah, I was looking on Twitter, and my feed must have been messed up because they had a different hashtag going for Tuesday, but it was fun to look at.
Ooh. But, hey, McClay.
What's up?
Do you know what a vampire's most favorite portion of a horse race is?
No.
When they're neck and neck. Damn.
I was thinking it was some sort of like steak, something like steak sweepstake, steak something. I don't know. I was like,
But real quick, before we get into the topics tonight, I have a pretty cool announcement. Sponsor of this channel, John at the 616 Comics, has a pretty sweet book that they are going to be launching for pre-order tomorrow. I know McClay's a big fan. I'm a big fan. Huge Garbage Pail Kid fans and Madballs. I'm more of a Garbage Pail Kid fans than Madballs. But John at the 616 Comics, they are launching their exclusive for that Dynamite Madballs versus Garbage Pail Kids #1. It's a fantastic homage to that nasty Nick card that we all know and love. And we're getting it. It's an Easton Hawk variant. Nasty Nick versus Hornhead cover. Dynamite Entertainment, of course. There's going to be 500 copies, limited to $19.99, and that goes on sale tomorrow, June 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern. Little bit of inside baseball for you. If you guys download that 616 Comics app on your phone, a lot of times you get some early releases on there. And if you're looking for the regular Dynamite covers, they got some great variants as well. Make sure you guys are checking out these 616 Comics. But that will be available tomorrow. Love the nostalgia of it. Fantastic homage cover. What do you think about that, McClay? I know you're a big Garbage Pail Kid fan.
Not only am I a big Garbage Pail Kid fan, I'm a huge Madballs fan. I love Madballs. I love Oculus. And who's the skull dude? I know the eyeball is Oculus. I can't remember the skull dude's name.
I remember having them, but I was never big into them. Basically throwing them at your brothers.
I freaking love those things when I was growing up. And I love the cartoons, the comics, everything about them, man.
Definitely screams 80s. And then the back side of like the back cover is cool, but I love it. And I wish Dynamite would do like the 80s Madballs comics and stuff did where they had like some ad for like, I don't know, Fruit by the Foot or some crazy board ad or something.
You know what, dude? I have the most perfect artist to do a Madballs Garbage Pail Kids cover. So perfect that I'll tell you after the show because I don't want anybody to know about it out there.
Heck yeah. Yeah, don't do that.
Well, I hope this comic really settles who would win in the fight. I don't want this to be a team up versus Cabbage Patch Kids situation kind of thing. You know, I'm tired of this fake versus.
You want
Bait
people
and
to
switch.
die. You want Garbage Pail Kids to die.
I need to know who's most powerful.
But that was the thing. Is like this cover's cool, but then I was almost wishing it would have the classic Garbage Pail Kid banner.
Yeah.
But then I realized that, what was it, Series 3? They had to change the banner because of the Garbage Pail Kid copyright issue.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
But, yeah,
So that squared off.
yeah. So you'll see what it is after Series 3, right? When they changed it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Maybe if they came out with some cards to kind of go along with it or something.
I feel like the Mad Balls were just such a fun thing to play with, and they were tactile and everything. But Garbage Pail Kids really captured the imagination, because you didn't play with them. You just use your imagination. Just really.
Yep.
I
Traded
could
them at
still
recess.
smell the gum
Yeah.
when you were opening up Garbage Pail Kids. I can still taste that gum, man.
Kind of makes me wonder how much of those inspired the beginnings of cosplay back in the 80s and 90s. How many kids tried to dress up like that for Halloween?
I lived in Germany when they came out,
Those
so
masks.
luckily I had friends send them from the States. But the German Garbage Pail Kids, it was like they're like smaller versions. And it was like Achtung, Adam, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, remember trading them at the playground on recess.
We used to trade them on the bus. I remember.
They're like
I actually-
marbles. We got Garbage Pail Kids now.
I ruined all mine because they were stickers, right? Or at least
Yep.
some of the series were stickers.
Yep.
I pulled them all off and put them all over my favorite chair and sat on them.
Oh, you mean
If
like
you have
a
Prime
kid.
Video, there's a fantastic Garbage Pail Kids documentary out there. But anyway,
I played the Garbage Pail Kids mobile game on my phone for a long time.
yeah,
They caught me on that one.
the
Wow.
movie's a cult classic. It
Yeah.
must have been Sony that made the movie. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, that goes on sale tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys go over to the616comics.com. McClay, kick us off tonight. What we got going on?
oh man, like I see a lot of people talking about this lately, and I got a hot take on it. Marvel lands Planet of the Apes rights, so they're gonna start doing Planet of the Apes storylines or series. Sounds like the Planet of the Apes is returning to the publisher with new stories launching in 2023, and yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a big Planet of the Apes fan, man, and this is kind of weird to me. I would love to know what the rest of you guys think, before we move too far into this, because I don't know very many people that are Planet of the Apes fans.
No, the only reason why I would buy some of the comics. Who had it before? Was it Dynamite?
Yeah, and they did the Green Lantern homage.
Yeah, there was I forget his name. They had some awesome covers for those.
Yeah.
They were cover buys for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Art.
I'll be honest. I think Planet of the Apes is stupid.
Yeah,
I think it's really stupid.
I guess it comes down to what they do with it. I don't know, but they got Predator, they got Alien.
I didn't know this. Did you know Planet of the Apes was originally published as a 1963 French novel? The novel was adapted into the film, of course, in 1968. It had all the different movies. Man, they did do Marvel Adventures Planet of the Apes, which was published in the mid 70s and featured adaptations of the movie. So, but I just think, I'll be honest, I think Planet of the Apes is for the generations before us. We're not into this. Even when the movies came out with Marky Mark and shit,
the Marky Mark ones stunk. The newer ones are decent.
Yeah, but those aren't really like Planet of the Apes like this. You know what I mean?
Okay. They wouldn't follow these type of storylines.
Yeah, this stuff is really, really dated and old to me.
Yeah, the original series, if you think about it, it was like a theory and an idea, and it's an old theory and idea that they used to kind of build off the series to build off the Planet of the Apes movies and whatnot. But it's in a way kind of outgrown. It would be hard, I think, to try to adapt it to something that's more current, because it's just a very old idea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm a little surprised because this is definitely the '70s stuff or whatever. You know, it's definitely '60s, '70s. I mean, I do like the original movie series, at least the first three, and then it gets a little like the 4 and 5 get a little weird, and then the reboot was actually done really well, and they become like human allegories about the human condition, and that's sort of how Matt Reeves got the Batman gig anyway too. But that's the weird part to me. I'm like, that is the new Planet of the Apes, and that's the Planet of the Apes America knows and seems to like, you know? So going back to the old one is like very unusual to me because that lore was already they like beat it to death by
Yeah.
episode 5 in the movies, you know? So
One thing I would like to
you're
see,
going
but I think they're
backwards?
actually losing the license to is I want to see like Conan versus Planet of the Apes.
I
But
just
is it-
I,
Error, right?
I'm really perplexed by this. I don't know anybody that is like stoked for this. Have you guys heard anybody that's stoked for this that we know?
I think it's just people. I'm no spring chicken, but I think it's just the age group.
Nostalgia?
before.
Oh. However, I
There's
forgot.
a new movie
There's a
coming.
detail. Yes, Disney
Yeah.
got the rights to this franchise since they bought Fox, and they're rebooting it. They announced it. I mean, or whatever. I guess it's a reboot. So and you know how Disney uses Marvel as like a little testing ground. So maybe that's what real. I mean, honestly, that's probably what it really is about. It's really about the studio takeover, and they just have this property, and they're like, oh, let's play with it in the comics, see what does well, and then we'll use those ideas in the movies, and whatever doesn't work, fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, just to see. Who knows? Of course, will it be like Marvel in the first issue have 30 different covers for it?
Yes.
Yes.
And then,
The answer is
if you're a retailer, would you do a store exclusive for Planet of the Apes #1?
I wouldn't.
Marvel.
If it's
No.
a Garbage Pail Kids homage, maybe.
What if it's a NES Donkey Kong Jr. homage?
Let's
That's
ask
a lot of
Drew.
nostalgia.
Drew, are you doing a Planet of the Apes variant?
Yeah, Drew's in the chat from Wanted Comics.
That's what we need to ask.
No,
Let's find
no
out.
go Braves. Braves need to lose tonight.
I mean, this will sell like crazy if they somehow connect it to a movie spec kind of thing, but there is no seeming connection really. So
Yeah, there's nothing.
that's
there's
why
nothing
I'm
to
like
speculate
confused.
on.
Like, what kind of?
Yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Does
Yeah,
it
it's
move the
definitely-
needle for a
it's-
Marvel Planet of the Apes book? But
Definitely not my cup of tea. It's just before my time and just not
I
something
would-
that seems.
I would love to revisit this down the road when we come back and go, holy crap, do you see what Planet of the Apes #1's going for right
I
now?
know, right?
Cover A.
If it's good, it's good.
Yes.
But
Does it say who
Is it gonna be
I didn't
good?
see
I
they
don't
have
know.
what series announced,
La-
but they didn't
La
have a writer
Roca?
attached to it, right?
La Roca
Oh.
is doing covers for it, and let me see here. Marvel plans to announce details on upcoming Planet of the Apes titles, creative teams collections reprint at a later date. So no, just the art by La Roca.
And Drew said, hell no, not in this market.
Yeah. Yeah. Not worth it. But
I
that's
saw, like-
that's comics right now, man.
Like you
They're
said,
just
it
throwing
was-
everything at the wall.
A slow news cycle or something because I saw so many sites posted about it.
I know. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's like just that time of year, summertime, man. Just kind of slow for a lot of things.
Yep.
But it isn't slow. Apparently, acclaimed Venom team of Cates and Stegman reunite for Image's Vanish. Vanish sees Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman tackling a wild creator-owned world of gore-laden magic, brooding spellcasters, and gritty superheroes. Creators who took on Venom into the realm of the cosmic horror are now collaborating on Image Comics, Magic Theme Vanish. And Cates and Ryan announced the details of the creator-owned project after previously revealing it on their KLC Press Substack newsletter in January. Now, I didn't even know that this was happening because I've gotten so many Substack emails that I just kind of auto delete them now, unless it's from Brian K. Vaughan. There's just like 5 emails a day come from Substack now.
Well,
But this I'd be interested in checking out, unlike Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's like Image version of Null, it looks like.
No, it's not Image version of Null. So I got some, like, I've been kind of following this for a bit. So this was actually whenever they started doing the Substack thing, this was the this character is kind of when they started doing their Substack. And when that whole thing started coming around, they started talking about this character. They actually started making this character, or came up with this character around the same time that they came up with the character that was in Venom, that I can't remember off the top of my head now. That was that everyone thought it was like going to be like the next bad. I'm trying to think what his name was. That has a very similar looking style to him. And there's part of me that believes that the reason why that character, if you remember, the character that has a very similar looking style with the mask,
Darkness.
No, it was in the Venom. It was in the Venom run. I can't remember what the. God dang it! I was trying to look it up right quick.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of the name.
It's not Van. It's not.
There was just some.
There was virus, but it wasn't virus. It was.
This guy looks like the Darkness Brotherhood of the Wolf, Hand of the King man.
Yeah, it was. There was virus, which wasn't that. It was the other guy that was. It ended up being Donny Cates' son, I believe, is who it was.
Darkness, I think it's Chappelle.
An alternative universe.
Bedlam? No,
it's in volume 4, and it was around.
It's not 5.
It's not 5. It's in volume 4. It's around number 26, 27 when it came out. The
Codex.
So if you look at Codex and you look at this character, it's very, very, very similar. You get a picture of it, and they kind of came up with the Codex, or they had Codex going. They had this character going at the same time. Then they decided to make this character their own, and they're going to build a story off of it. And that's kind of around the time they started doing Substack as well. They added the to me, that's kind of why I believe they no, not Sleeper. To me, I think that's kind of why they didn't do much of the Codex, because they were so similar looking, and they were planning to do this thing with this guy, this Vanish character, which is going to be a good bad guy, something, or bad good guy, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm Zangief. I am bad guy.
So this is like you're saying it's like a Nightcrawler situation where it was like originally developed for DC and then became a Marvel character.
I believe so. I mean that's I have not heard that per se, but I know that I watched an interview where he went back and drew this again, and they asked for those that are watching to make their rendition of Vanish, and they show some of the other characters that were involved in this story, but it's supposed to be like it was made around the long same time as they made the Codex character. But I mean, I'm really checking it out. And I knew it was going to come out on Substack. I didn't, and they must have somehow then either pitched it to Image after they came out and did something with Substack with it, and then Image must have said, "Okay, well, go ahead and let's take off with it."
Now, is it Image proper, or is it one of their imprints? It looks like it's just Image proper, right? Like it's not Skybound or Top Cow.
It feels Top Cow, but
oh man, it definitely looks like the Darkness.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm actually trying to pull up some of the Image 90s titles, because this is like a cross between Darkness and like Darkhawk, and there's a character from either Brigade or Youngblood or something like that it's like a cross of 2 or 3 characters right out of the 90s. Just looking at this image makes me think of what Ryan was saying from Venom issue 25 or 26, and then 2, it brings me back to the 90s of reading Brigade, The Darkness, Youngblood, some of those titles there.
Did you read the 10 pages preview or whatever?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's really quick. It's very in your face. It reminds me of The Boys actually a lot. The way it's in your face, and I think that's how it's marketed too. But I could imagine the pitch being like Harry Potter and The Boys put
Yeah,
together.
like the Hunger Games, the little insignia there on them.
I just don't. It's Donny Cates, man. You know what I mean? Like,
If you like this issue,
yeah.
definitely want to pick up the next.
That's
So
what you did there.
I mean, a poncho is a nice new look, though. Huh? I'm sick of the capes, right? Might as
this
well get a
is-
poncho. It's more
and
useful. I think.
that's Codex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That Battle Rocket character in the beginning, man. I'm reading the previews and checking out the previews, and I don't know what to think, man.
I mean, it is reminding me of Spawn issue 1 a little bit. It looks like,
Yes.
There are characters that were shown on there. Yeah, there was some guy. There's a really big looking dude, like a really huge, like almost like Thing looking character as well. And
Yeah.
but you never know until he does what it's going to be like.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
Oh.
if it's good.
But
it's
the
good.
problem is, when's the last time Cates put out anything good?
I think
Man.
I think he's got oversaturated with writing. But
Yes.
I'm not going to fault him. The guy's doing what he wants to do. And
Of course
making
not. You
a living
can't
out of
fault
it,
him.
but I agree with where you're coming from.
I enjoy it. I enjoy
that.
his things.
The
I like.
Kate's indie stuff is, to me,
I mean, you like the Hulk. I never read Hulk, but I'm reading this one now. I didn't read Thor, and I still read crossover. I just some of the things that the way he does some of the writing, I enjoy.
yeah, redneck, baby teeth. Those are some.
And I didn't read those either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago for Redneck and Baby Teeth, though.
Yeah,
God
Yeah.
Country. Those are a long time ago.
5, 6
hasn't
years ago.
Cates hasn't written anything really good in a long time, in my opinion.
Isn't the criticism like his tropes are showing, kind of like?
And he can't hit an ending. He's just. It's really bad when it comes to trying to be able to tie up a story in a bow, right? And he can't do it.
it's called Marvel.
Yeah,
Well, I mean-
you know what? You could be right. You could be right.
He left
I see with
Venom a
the
mess.
Marvel. They're always their summer books. Their
Yeah,
summer
but-
series.
I feel bad for like Ram being those guys because they had to take over Venom, and it was like, how the heck do you go from where it was at to? It was like a bunch of loose ends to it. Like you said, it was like, what do you do now? Like they're shooting. I mean, that's why I think that's why they're having trouble right now. They're trying to grasp the straws and what direction do they take this thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing about those big 2 books, though, is it's hard to do an ending because there never really is an ending.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to sell another issue.
Yeah.
Isn't the way he self promotes kind of begging you to look at how not like his flaws or whatever? I mean, like sometimes I feel like his self promotion is so unusual, like so different than most writers. And I wonder if like he's setting himself up to be overly criticized as a result.
I think there's a point to that, and I think there's no. He's definitely not void of criticism because he definitely gets his fair share, but
Yeah,
he's a comic fan at heart. But I get what the points that you're saying, because I kind of I won't say fell out of love with him, but there was a while there where I just got kind of tired of it.
I think like some of his like the way he promotes is like it's very douchebaggy, like the way he kind of carries himself. Like I mean, that's the way me and other folks said it's kind of like a douchebag, sort of like the way he just kind of carries himself. But that's him personality wise. I think the writing stuff, if you separate it, I like the way he does his writing and the way I like what he does. But I don't have to like his personality or what he represents.
Yeah. Could be worse. Could have Dan Slott. Sorry.
So,
but like but then there's that's funny because I went to that con this weekend and I met a lot of artists, and it was interesting to see. Okay, I met these like I met a bunch of artists, and when you meet them personally and you get to talk to them or have some interactions with them, how quickly your idea of them or your perception of them changes. You know, like maybe you like their art more, or maybe you like their art less. You know, some of the cover artists because of the way their demeanor was. You know, or maybe you were like, oh, maybe I'll check out some of their stuff. So sometimes, you know, not knowing folks and kind of coming up with your own idea of them and getting to, you know, read the story or look at the art and taking what you want without their personality really is beneficial.
I actually think about how like after 2010, everyone has terabytes of data of photos and videos of them since they were 1 year old or whatever. And like in the future, if they try to be like a badass tough guy, everyone could just show off like a baby video they got. Like everyone has too much data now. I'm sorry, that's totally random tangent, but what you just said reminded me of.
Pissed off comic time. Whatever.
What? It's good stuff, comic
Do you
Tom.
not know who I am?
I met Kevin Smith and he was awesome in real life. Like that's a hero you can meet, I think.
Oh yeah. But
Oh yeah, Darth. Yeah, like yeah, so Darth for that he blocked him on IG. I have said very nominal things, nothing what not even hateful or mean or anything things to Kate's or Stegman on Twitter, and the troops that he has that are like suckling at the teat is just ridiculous. The amount of like replies I got on, I was like, are you kidding me? Like I said something about his hat. Oh my gosh, the amount of hate that and that I got from just that, and then his little comments back to me on it, how he tried to throw, and he's like, oh, sorry to have time for your comment. I was in this particular place with my hot wife, from the money from writing comic books, being here, something like that. I was like, dude, you're such a tool, man. Like it's like I like your stuff, but I couldn't hang out with you as a person. You're giving like metal a bad name.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm passionate behind it. The whole
So are
thing.
you looking forward to the new Kevin Spacey film coming out soon?
there's a where is that, in jail?
It looks terrible. No, it looks horrible. But you know, I mean, because his personality might
Yeah,
not be as
isn't
good
he in like
as
trouble again?
performance. Yeah, he is. He's in trouble in France. I think is it
Definitely-
France or England? England.
Yeah.
He's in trouble in England.
Who else
Yeah,
is in trouble there?
I agree with Darth too on that one. But he does have like in-depth knowledge, so that's and the way that he'll bring things out from the past. He loves Jason Aaron. I mean, he'll follow the coattails of Jason Aaron a bunch. But he's got pretty good knowledge of everything, which really helps him out with his writing. And I do like the way he ties stuff in. So as a writer, I think as a writer he's good, but as an individual, I'd probably pass on hanging out with him.
Each their own. Yeah. Speaking of being in trouble, Dan.
Yeah, speaking of in trouble, you know, they're in trouble. Ezra, allegedly. So according to Deadline, sources that spoke to Deadline, and Deadline is, you know, probably the biggest Hollywood news like thing out there, claimed that Zaslav, after, you know, dealing with this whole situation with Ezra and all the things that they're doing, probably they will, you know, recast after the release of the Flash film. And the Flash film, of course, costs so much money that they're just hoping he doesn't do more nutty stuff. And you know, it's interesting because the first video that got him in trouble that was swept under the rug was in 2021, where, you know, it shows him like grabbing, choking a woman, throwing her to the ground or whatever, and everyone sort of ignored that. And, you know, honestly, look, this is a little controversial, but I felt like it had something to do with him. They don't know if they are queer or not queer, or, you know, no one knew at the time. I think people thought they were like gay and then queer and then non-binary. Everyone found out they're non-binary, but I wondered if, like, wait, is this why they're not even sure how to deal with this? Because if he was a straight dude, sis, whatever, right? And then he did that choke video. That's it, right? Game over, right? Because this is already post a lot of the Me Too stuff. So I was kind of stunned that this didn't go anywhere, and they kind of made it. It kind of disappeared for like a year.
Yeah.
And then he went on his little rampage in Hawaii, and now it looks like he's like a cult leader, and he like grooms 12-year-old children.
He's
Yeah,
nuts,
yeah,
dude.
that's the
And
latest
he's
news.
Latest. And then he like
Twice.
disappeared and was like posting
times.
weird ass
Yeah.
memes and shit.
And now he can't be found by the authorities. So, yeah, and he's
Yeah, he
you know,
can't be
it's-
found by authorities, and he keeps like trying to post things on like social media to troll folks or whatever. Like him and Amber should go get a room and become one.
You could take all those things away and I'd still like fire Ezra. He's like, in my opinion, he's the worst Flash actor ever.
I still don't know why they don't. I mean, I feel like the dude off the show. Come on, I mean, that's just a no-brainer why they wouldn't use him. I don't know why they don't.
they've never done that. I mean, generally speaking, the industry's almost never done that. Like when it comes, especially superhero stuff, they've almost never crossed them over into the theater. That would be unprecedented if that did happen. But I don't know. It was Zack Snyder's pick, man. Like Zack Snyder picked a bunch of models. That's what he did. He picked a bunch of good-looking people, the best-looking people he could find, because he's obsessed with beauty. So that's why we got a bunch of these people. I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. Are you gonna see the Flash movie when it comes to theaters though? If I kind of want to see it just for the Michael Keaton and or see it for everyone else but him.
I mean, I think a HBO Max release, which is in the cards, would be
Yeah.
the way to go, in my opinion. I think, because then you'll still get a bunch of people to watch it. It won't look as embarrassing or problematic if it's not in theaters, whatever. Try to write it off. I don't know. They were talking about that in this article. But
What was that?
I would just put it out and then just replace him as the actor.
Yeah, I hope the whole soundtrack is from the band Better Than Ezra.
Oh boy.
Oh, look. That was hilarious.
I mean, I guess the real issue with replacing Ezra is they played themselves 3 times, sort of. I heard that's like according to so it's like they're playing multiple versions of them in the same scene. So to recast that is like, I don't know. Of course, it's gonna be a nightmare, but they did. It has been done. It has been done with the Kevin Spacey.
Mad Respect in the chat just brought up a great point. Talking about keep getting told the new execs are going to turn things around. There's flashing a bunch of stuff, but I haven't seen much yet.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think that this kid, I'll be honest, like I have a real worry that he's gonna end up dead somewhere. You know what I mean? Like he's on one, dude. He is on a serious either manic depressant manic state, or he's on a major drug binge.
It reminds me of Shia LaBeouf from 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, but even worse, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I haven't heard enough information. I just hear bits and pieces to know if it's just him, like just being a complete tool, and like, or if it's something that's like substance related, where he's like just off his rocker. At some point, you got to come down, though.
Well, the Shia LaBeouf thing was pretty bad. He did a lot of stuff that was pretty bad, it's arguably as bad or worse. I mean, they're both doing pretty bad stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
But like the craziest thing is like Shia LaBeouf still could do movies and whatnot.
Yeah, at least he could act.
No, not really.
not,
I mean,
man.
technically, after the FKA Twigs sued him for like
Beating the
all
shit out of
kinds,
her.
yeah, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. Like he's been kind of effectively like done since then. Like we haven't really, unless he comes back, I don't know. But as far as I've seen, it seems like he sort of got canceled too.
But maybe like Ezra Miller was like he went, like I said, he went to Hawaii kind of when it kind of seemed to start off. Isn't that it was around the Hawaii time, or was there stuff before then?
Yeah, stuff before then. There was stuff like a year before. I mean, not multiple stuff, but there
Yeah.
was an incident before then that was like very problematic. But I guess
But
it
that
was
was like the
never
beginning of
addressed.
this like continuation. And like he started, it's kind of around the same time he got a little bit of notoriety. But then when you go to Hawaii and they're like, people don't know who you are because they're from Hawaii, and it does, they get tons of celebrities there, and they just look at everyone kind of the same. And almost like he's like, he liked that status of celebrity status. It like really, maybe, I don't know. He started getting a little bit of notoriety. And he kind of affected him a lot when I don't know.
It always makes me wonder what goes through their minds too, because I just put myself in that situation. And first thing that is, I'd be embarrassed for my parents. Like does any of that kind of fall into these type people's minds, or are they just like, fuck that, I'm doing what I want?
I think it's
think
this
so.
weird new thing. I think it's like a weird new phenomenon of the insecure narcissist
Yeah.
or the charismatic insecure narcissist. It's like because those things didn't usually come together in America for a while, but now it's like I feel like with the advent of social media, this is a bigger sociological topic, but I feel like we're getting this new kind of persona that we haven't really seen
Yeah.
of people that are confident, charismatic, narcissists that are severely insecure at the same time, and it's just like, what am I dealing with right now? I don't.
It reminds me, what was it? It was a Jay Leno that had Kanye after like the whole I'm gonna let you finish speech, and he like basically guilted him like, what would your mother think if she saw that?
Yeah.
I might say it was like Jay Leno, and Kanye just broke down.
Kanye, man, that's a whole other story. I think there's something like, I think there are like after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of I think in that particular lifestyle, there's only so much some people can handle before it really starts changing them and their mentality and emotions.
Uh,
You can't. That's a change. And he's like, when you got a life like that, it'll change you, a lot.
it wasn't super cool what Kanye did to Taylor Swift, but I have to say though, he is right.
Yeah.
Beyonce's video, "Single Ladies," was iconic, and like we all know it still. And that Taylor Swift video is a piece of trash. And Beyonce should have won. Like I think that's why he got so upset because it was so obvious to any artist that one video is iconic and the other is trash, like Disney Channel trash.
I don't even know what that is.
And that's what. Yeah, watch Taylor Swift's video that was competing against Beyonce's video for that year and that award, and you'll see it's so obvious that one deserves.
I think all those award shows suck.
I know, but I think that's what it just triggered him too much, so he just freaked out because if you look at the two videos, it's glaringly obvious. Like one is much better than the other, and somehow the other won. And I guess he couldn't take it. I'm not excusing it, but I am.
Yeah.
But his point was correct, but his execution
But
of
he should
expressing
know,
the point was not correct.
you should know that industry is all money driven. You don't have to have a good song. You can pay for your record to be on a radio station enough so that it gets beat into people's mind. They program you on the radio station.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, imagine like some white creator makes something iconic, right? And it's like, genuinely iconic, right? And then they give it to a minority creator who made something that's not that great because you know what I mean? That's like what it felt like. It's if that. Because it's so bad, like that. It's so bad. It's like an insult to everyone's intelligence to claim that this was better than the.
I cannot get that time back.
Yeah, that's a great point from Fred. We're just in a world of disarray everywhere right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But yeah, it's.
We need a "We Are the World" video or something. But Ryan, what do you have for our surprise topic tonight?
Well, I welcome any comments or questions from the gallery. If anyone would like to pose a question to these here gentlemen above and to this side of me.
Yeah. If there's something you guys want to talk about, throw it in the chat real quick. We'll get the Jeopardy music going. But
you do. But I went to the Fan Expo over in Dallas this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually my first, I think, major con to be in a long, long, long time. And I enjoyed it. It was kind of eye opening. I expected the lines for the creators to be a lot longer than what they were. It was fairly easy to get signatures from artists and whatnot. Um, it seemed like a lot of folks went to visit to see the actors. The actors were a big draw for the convention, and the comic section. I mean, there people went to see the comics, and I talked to a lot of the vendors too because I have a lot of friends that are vendors, and they're like, yeah, it was the sales were okay. It wasn't a son of it. A lot of people spent so much money on actors and getting signatures from actors that they had really not a lot to be able to utilize in the comic side, I guess, the things like books or memorabilia. Now, don't get me wrong, there's people buying stuff all over the place, but the actor side just kind of like really sucked out the pockets of everyone, to where even the artists, you know, they were like sitting there. There was, I can't tell you how many times I walked to Tyler Kirkham just get a signature, didn't have to wait in line, or walk up to Barto Ramos maybe with one person in front of me. And it's like, to me, I expected I have to wait in a line for a while just for those. And so I just wanted to see, you know, from y'all's, do y'all think that should be more separate, where it should be more con? Do you think that the pricings of stuff takes away from one side of the world? Like, you have your artists, maybe they should do like that, or is it smart to keep it together like that, because that's what everyone knows on the like everyone knows the movies like that, so that's what's going to draw them in.
It depends entirely on what you're trying to do as a convention owner, creator, or curator. That's why a lot of people stick to the mini conventions that are just comic books if they want to buy comic books. Having actors or having personalities there, I wouldn't say draws away from the pool of money that's getting spent at the comic books, because the people that are walking up to those doors to walk into those doors have X number of dollars for actors and X number of dollars plus or minus whatever for comic books. Most people are budgeting walking through that door a day in advance. I don't know. Maybe it's the younger generation that kind of walks in there with an allowance and just like spends it like squirrel, 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 maybe. But
Pokemon mystery box.
the bulk of people I know that are going there for the actors aren't there to buy comic books anyways.
Yeah.
So unless it's an actor you don't see often that has a comic book that you can get CGC witnessed, then I'd definitely do it.
Yeah.
There's a very famous chess store in New York that was there, and then like an employee made another chess store across the street, and then they were both super, you know, the other guy was super pissed, but it ended up they both made more money because they created a chess district almost. And I think comic cons now are really pop culture cons anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Like I used to go to New York Comic Con, but then once I saw like video games and other things were actually overtaking the comics as a, you know, as a what's it called, pretentious asshole, I stopped going, you know. So I get where you're coming from, like from an emotional perspective, but from a business perspective, I understand what they're doing, because now it's bigger than it's ever been ever, and maybe our industry won't die. You know, I don't know, like.
If Randy Jackson was there, I'd get him to sign my katana, because you're not going to get him to sign it.
Well, it'd be cool if they integrated more of the actors with the in the comic side of things, or like with some of the creators. I think if they would have gotten, like, say if they got like an actor that was part of a comic book movie or something like that, and maybe one of the writers or artists, and they paired them up together to where you get maybe 2 signatures or something along that line, to kind of introduce people to the media of comic books where it was created. That might be a way to try to have the two, because it felt very separated. Like, it felt like there was that side and there was like this side, but kind of
that's always kind of been cons, right? It's always been that way.
Wizard World.
A lot of the actors
Golden Apple
won't step. Yeah, a lot of the actors just don't want that freedom of the public as far as, you know, recording or collecting information, or just like it's the photography side of thing. That's the reason why they keep it separated, is you're not allowed to do photography or videography over on that side, or record audio.
Yeah.
You have to be part of that crew or that group that's authorized to do that, because there's oversight and editing and proofreading and all that other jazz, so that the image of the actor is still being delivered and displayed in a fashion that is in line with contracts and studios and all this other stuff. But yeah, I've seen some conventions. Like, I'm with you, Ryan. I feel like it'd be great to have a comic book writer or creator bump elbows with an actor that happened to play that character in that book and kind of create some of those interactions. I know Motor City did something similar where a couple of the actors agreed. Who's the tall guy that played Shaggy in Scooby-Doo? Matthew Lillard, yeah. He actually had his setup on the end cap facing the comic books, and they had the mystery mobile, the wagon out there and everything, and had like a really cool display. Double O, if you're still in the chat, he saw that this past year. And so there's kind of some more mingling, but I agree. I'd like to see a little bit more too.
It'd be the artist telling the celebrity, bro, how much you get paid? Marvel gave me like fucking $2,000 for this shit.
Your money. I don't want them communicating too much. So Fred sent a question, and I wanted to go ahead and ask that one too. And says that many of you are resellers and speculators. Where do you see the resale market? My eBay sales have tanked the last 2 weeks. Inflation looks like it's here to stay for a while. Will resellers bail out? And I think we had a little bit of conversation about that last week when I asked, have things seemed to be getting slower? And I think Andy said, no, not at all. Not from his end, that it was, it was still kind of about status quo. But what do y'all think about that question?
I think it's twofold. I think some of it is just nature of the business. As people's wallets get tighter, their spending power is going to slow down. But I don't see it as a drop. I almost see it also as a market correction, because that was part of the frustrating thing. You were seeing people spend gobs of money on books that, to my mind, weren't proven characters, weren't proven books. It was the trend, and as with influencers and social media, and more people talked about it, and FOMO sets in. I was amazed at some of the prices people paying for some of these books. Kudos to the sellers that were making money off of them. But to me, I just saw that at some point, some of those books are going to have to come back down to earth. I think it's going to be a trend. You're going to see it's going to happen again. I'm not going to be the old man that says, get off my lawn. I just don't. I always say, buy what you like and then pay what you're willing to pay for it. If you love a book that much and you're willing to pay for it, that's your right too. But I do think there's part is just the economy, and then parts of market correction.
Collectibles are a luxury. You know, collectibles are a luxury, and we're getting to a point where luxuries aren't what people are spending money on anymore. They're starting to spend money on, gas. Gas and food and shoring up their bank account, stacking money. Yeah, man, it's a luxury. Collectibles are a luxury.
Silver.
But here's the thing too. After the pandemic, the amount of variance exploded. It seemed like to me, the amount of variance, at least from what I collected in collecting Venom, there was like each book that came out had tons and tons of variance. And I know there was variance before, but it just seems like they had the time to have more variance. And now you take maybe like a year or two later, people are like, man, like all those variants that everyone was hoping would do something did nothing. And they're like, I'm not doing that again, because that's how I feel. I'm not doing that again. That was like, I used to pre-order. Well, F that, because that sucked. And then now it's like, so I think people are going to be a little more choosy and a little more picky on what they get. And if they are doing it for a speculation purpose or a collectible purpose, they're going to look for instead of just buying everything because they think it's going to be good, they're going to have to do more searching now. They're going to do a little more thinking before they buy.
Yeah, and how many of that push for variance? I want to dig into this later after the show, but let's look at the timing of stimulus payments and child care tax credits. And they talked about a lot of that stuff 10 months in advance before some of that stuff started dropping. Totally. So how much of this was, hey, there's going to be an influx of money into the market that is not tied to anything. People weren't planning on this. They might not necessarily need it for bills or to make ends meet. So this big push for variants, I kind of wonder if that timing lines up with stimulus money and free money coming into the market. And now that everybody's kind of accustomed to buying all those variants, they haven't really slowed down in creating them.
Well, I think variance is something they did a lot in the '90s, and it imploded, and then they
Yeah,
like
but
kind of
not like
chilled
Boom.
on it. They chilled on it, and it came back during COVID. I don't think it was necessarily to get the money from people. It was to get money at all. It's sort of like
It was like a
it's like
forgotten
it's
idea
like
that was brought
putting
back to life.
candy in front of us. Like Todd McFarlane, he said we're addicts and we need to be addicts. Like we need to get our fix, and it's important that we get our fix. Like Todd McFarlane called us addicts, like during the COVID thing, during the beginning of the fall, the crash, whatever. So they were thinking like, what are the things that get the people addicted and speculating as hard as possible, and they're like, fuck it, let's do the '90s again. Let's just go Let's go harder than the '90s. In fact,
Well, I
right?
felt
Because there's
very-
more variants than we've ever had in the '90s. Like 20 covers for every fucking
Yeah, I remember dynamic forces and mail away stuff and a cover here, a cover there, but like Boom's issue on issue 21, 22, 23, they're 2 years into some titles and they're releasing 6, 7, 8 covers with ratios, and it's like that seems like quite a lot for an issue that's 2 years in.
And-
I
and
was
it's-
looking at
yeah.
so just because again I'm a Venom collector. Volume 4 of Venom, there's 35 issues, right? But there is over 410 covers for 35 issues.
Yeah,
There's
that's like
over
410 too many.
covers. That's insane. And
I will tell you, I hope through this correction or whatever's going on, it'd be nice to see retailers start selling books at like ratio again instead of $50 for a 1 in 25.
Yeah, I mean, back to the original question though. I feel like this is a combination of a couple of things, and this is just my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. I feel like we're seeing a correction, a slide, a little bit, but I also feel like people aren't seeing the whole picture. Like there are still a lot of people out there spending. I've seen so many comments about how much money was spent at Dallas this weekend on the Whatnot app. Like it was nuts. Like money, just like so many people buying so many books on Whatnot. So it's like there's kind of a market shift on where people are kind of doing their business. And I also feel like there's going to be some correction. Like I still think books are being sold. I still think there's a lot of money out there being spent on books. I just don't think we're always seeing it at face value.
Isn't that theoretically buying the dip? I mean, is that because there's usually a buying the dip bump when there's a huge correction because people think we hit the bottom, so they're like, oh, or maybe went below the bottom, so they're like, oh, time to buy,
That's why I mean I'm looking into purchasing more, and I'm not really selling things because I think that later on I'll be able to sell that same book for a little bit more later on, and I think I can buy those. I've been able to purchase high ratios for more than I've ever seen in a long time.
I mean, but everyone's struggling too, so it's not like we're behind or losing in a way that's unique to us. It's like everyone's fucked, so we're all in the same boat now.
Yeah, it's the economy.
How so?
For sure. A lot of it.
How so? I can work 120 hours a week if I wanted to right now. I've got more business and more money coming in my personal career than I can cope with. I don't have enough team members. I don't have enough labor. There's different areas that people like aren't seeing. Like people are talking about a slowdown, correction, like, and be worried about this. That's not everywhere. I'm telling you.
Well, if you have a slowdown, like I have a lot of work too, and I'm making, I'm I deal with the market all the time, but that doesn't hide the fact that the cost to go and get groceries for all the kids and everything that has gone more. So the amount of money that I have to be able to use on other things still is shrunk.
I mean,
it costs my
for
Honda.
For a percentage, yeah, for a percentage.
My Honda it used to cost like $30 to fill my Honda. Now it's like almost $55.
So you're talking an extra $20, $25 a week, $100 a month.
3 times a week. I mean,
three. You're filling up 3 times a week.
3 times a week. Yeah,
that's too much driving. That's way too much driving.
Well, that's my job, though. That's the thing.
You're speaking about your individual case, but
correct.
I think in America in general, there's a lot of people are.
Yeah,
I guess people are hurting. I mean, a lot of people I know are hurting. I'm fine, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not hurting.
it's
It's like I'm
it's
saying, there's
rough.
the amount of money you might coming in, but they're also the amount. That's inflation. That's just, and that's not the only reason. I'm not saying that's the only reason.
Yeah, I'm not trying to downgrade the people that are hurting or people that are having issue, but I'm telling you what, right now, nobody's flinching at these gas prices where I'm at.
I'll tell you what people are doing. No, and what we can fight if we're in a recession or not, but there's no doubt that people are looking at their comic books and sports cards and going, "This is just cardboard and paper.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
what the
need it right
F?
now. Let me sell them." Because a lot of people are coming up on collections. A lot of people are selling stuff they normally wouldn't sell in those collectible markets. So that is for sure. There's no doubt about that. I would have never been able to pick up a Michael Jordan rookie for anything less than $2,000, five
Casual
5 months ago. You know what I mean? And I got those things popping up all day. That's why I missed last week. I was picking up these Michael Jordan rookies. People are selling that stuff. So be on the lookout for that. If you are a person that it has the ability to buy those things, now is the time to buy those things.
Wow.
Speaking of buying things, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day.
Thanks, Fred, too, for the topic.
What are you guys picking up tomorrow, McClay?
Well, first of all, the Catwoman. Let me share this with you
Yeah,
guys.
the
That
Soza
Catwoman, not just the Soza Micah, every cover for that Catwoman book is freaking gorgeous. That Frizen is so good. So good. The Frizen's beautiful. The Soza Micah's beautiful. Here's the Soza Micah. Gorgeous. And even the DeCall, the A cover, the Jeff DeCall is great. I mean, like, when has a book had all three covers on the regular? Like, for the last couple months, all three covers ever since 39, right?
Yeah.
It's been DeCall, Soza Micah, and Frizen on all three covers. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that's pretty cool. Just for cover art alone. I don't know how good the series is or anything like that. But man, for cover art, that stuff is amazing. And also, there's also Red Room. I really like some of the Red Room books this week. The Neil Adams play, which is really cool. And then, I mean, there's a couple of them. There's the Sin City one, which is cool. A lot of cool books. There's a Kill Bill one. So for cover play, there's a lot of cool stuff like out there for that, and then of course there's also the book that if it didn't have anything to do with Disturb the Band, it would be one of my number one books this week. But
that was one of the ones I had.
Yeah, this cover is so gorgeous, but it's Disturb the Band, and I
I
have a hard time.
figured there's a couple of decent covers for that too, but
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Dang it, that would.
And it's written by Tim Seeley.
Yeah. It's beautiful, man.
I don't know if you're like me, McClay, but I just couldn't bring myself to buy that.
I couldn't. That's my problem, man. Yeah.
I feel icky and gross.
Yeah. So that is those are my picks this week.
We got Andy Bandy.
Oh. After a hot little break, Something Is Killing the Children is back. I'm pretty excited to read that, issue 24.
That's what I was thought of when you were talking about the covers.
Well, my brain kind of went there at first, and then I was like, wow, that's only like 6, but like seriously, Boom and a couple of others are just pumping out so many variants so late in the game on series that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm just excited to read this. What is a 3-month break, 4-month break, something like that?
Yeah.
Frizen isn't doing those covers anymore, aren't these Frizen?
I think that is a Frizen, yeah.
Yeah, they just don't have the cover artist in the.
Yeah. That's a creepy cover right there.
Are you still reading House of Slaughter, Andy?
No, I stopped after the first story arc. What I've come to find out is it's kind of like a traveling story arc where, not a traveling story arc, but like it's different characters every arc.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that tells me that I'm not really going to get a lot of time with the characters of the story or where they're at. And then new story arc. Here's a whole bunch of new exclusives and a bunch of variants and a bunch of ratios. Here's another new number one, even though it's House of Slaughter 6 or 12 or something of that fashion. It's a new arc with potentially new characters, and it's like I kind of wanted to pump the brakes and back away from that and just kind of stick with something that's killing the children for now.
What about you, Dan?
Wow.
Damn.
I pre-ordered the Lonesome Hunters from Dark Horse. I don't know. It just looks like it's great. I don't know. And it's a writer artist, combination. So we're gonna see someone's real vision of their work, and I don't know, something about it. It makes me think it's like in between indie and alt, graphic novel world and indie world. I don't know. Like, it's so weird how comics have changed. But that, and then I also pre-ordered that Black Adam book. So see what it's about. I like Christopher Priest's work. See if that's any good. I feel like it might be a
Perio
surprise
variant's
spec
pretty
too.
sweet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, some of these variants are pretty nice. There's one of the Perio. It's foil too.
Yeah.
That 1 in 100. Yeah, and I guess silver coin.
Nice.
Yeah. A Tynan silver coin. So
Yeah.
check it out. I mean, I like these self-contained anthology series that are done so well. Actually, to be honest, I think they're pretty awesome. I mean, it's like a relaxing read. You don't have to like try to remember what happened last month because you can't even figure out what the hell you are. Like I like that. Like sometimes just jumping in and out.
Yeah. Image has been doing quite a few anthology books.
Oh yeah. They had that new after school book, this
Yeah.
book,
Ice
and
Cream Man.
Ice Cream Man, which is exceptional.
Ryan, what are you getting? There's a
Uh,
Behemoth book out tomorrow, isn't there? That you
Yes,
like?
there is. I'm doing Silver Surfer Black, or not Silver. I keep saying Black. Silver Surfer, the Rebirth Letter. I've been reading, collecting that one.
That's a cool cover.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
Thanos. Yeah, like
Interesting.
I just like. I mean, I think Silver Surfer, as far as like looking characters, is just one of my favorite looking characters. It's always been one of my favorite looking characters, and there's so many like stuff like that with reflections and whatnot. It looks badass. And there, even though there's a scroll in there, but and then Heavy Metal Drummer is coming out, so I'm stoked to get that. They had some really cool covers on that, as always. That's just been just a really fun overall. That was a great thing. When y'all brought that up, I didn't know about that one, so it was cool. I gotta get some I get some black lights and put them underneath there. But
I know.
Right.
They're sick.
That's what I'm getting.
Sweet. If you scroll down, there's another Behemoth book. Is it The Illusion Witch? Right? That looks pretty cool. Fantasy type story. I always like.
It looks like a killer 80s movie poster cover.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of Willow, but good. Yeah, that cover sold out at a lot of places online. That's like the cover C, I believe, right? But
Yeah.
that one, and then just a cover pick, being a Thor fan and a Gary Frank fan. That Hulk vs. Thor Banner of War Alpha #1.
I saw that one too. Yeah, the second print. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got. I'm not much of line art or sketch variants or whatever, but I actually like the Gary Frank one for that.
Well, it's like it looks like a game cover, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense with Gary Frank. His line work is it's like thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What is it called?
Was it Hulk vs. Thor Banner of War Alpha #1?
Alpha War Prime or Alpha War Omega? I'm just kidding.
come on.
I know, right?
Oh,
Maybe it's V now because it's hip to just write V
It's a
these
second
days.
print.
Remember?
There you go. No, yeah.
No,
Send
it's-
one over.
VS is too long. Oh, there it is.
This one right here.
Yep.
Oh, that looks different than the one I saw. Yeah, that's cool.
There's that
Yeah,
one, and I
that's
think there's
cool.
also like a virgin one, but
Wow,
That
that
is
does
even
look
cool.
good. Look at all those.
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot of covers. Yeah, the black and white is way better than the
Yeah,
color.
isn't it?
Yep. The pencil work is so much
Oh.
better than the color is. Beautiful.
That's pretty
Yikes.
much all I got. Oh, I
That's
will
good.
say, Kanto fans, trade paperback for Kanto 3 Lionhearted hits store shelves tomorrow as well.
Not bad.
So that's new comic book day.
There was a comment, by the way. Sorry, for Andy, comic man Andy. There was a comment about how the first issue of the second arc was so good, better than the whole first arc of House
Yeah,
of Slaughter. Yeah.
I'd heard that from a couple of people.
Oh,
I'll probably go back and read it digitally.
Indubitably.
Digitally.
Yeah, Star Wars Crimson Reign, the final Raza
Raza
comes over.
connecting.
Comes out. Yep.
I thought for sure you were gonna put that out there, McClay, but
Yeah, I forgot about it.
yeah, that's just gonna leave us with one more thing. Brian, shot out of a cannon, go.
Less than 100 to subscribers to 1,000 subscribers. So come over, join up. If you're not subscribed already, come watch the shows. We've got shows 3 nights a week, I
I
think,
was
over
gonna
there
say
now.
it seems like
Yeah.
every night I see StreamYard links in the chats.
Yeah. So yeah, as soon as we hit 1,000, everything changes. A lot of cool new changes coming up to the channel as soon as that happens.
Nice.
What do you got, El Beardo?
Oh man, everybody just remember that we're rolling into the dog days of summer. It's gonna get quiet. It's gonna get a little slow. Things are gonna feel a little awkward in the comic book realm here on social media and a lot of other aspects, which means now is the time to tighten up and get laser focused on your grails and look for those deals, like McClay said. Whether we're on a dip, whether we're on a correction, whether we're on a downward slide, who cares? But just pay super tight attention and look for that book you've been looking for the last year or two at that price that you're willing to pay. So
Yeah.
save those bucks and get ready to shop. Because seriously, it sounds like it's kind of getting into buying season. Like a lot of people have been feeling like that.
Yeah, kick those kids off the corner, set up your own lemonade stand, make that money to buy books.
I'm it's funny you laugh at that, but that I'm gonna be selling as much as possible on Whatnot, man. I'm gonna be doing 2 to 3 sales a week and just trying to stack as much cash as I can, so when that moment comes around, I have the money to buy the stuff, because it will happen. There'll be some point, being a comic books person, that somebody's gonna want to sell a collection to you this summer. You watch.
What do you got, Dan?
So I haven't made new content in a little while on my channel, I guess, because I've been opening a new cafe, and that's over. So I was like, all right, I don't want to deal with managing this shit anymore. So I'm gonna make more content again very soon, and I'm very excited. Because I don't know, I hate managing people.
You're a man of mystery, man.
I don't like managing people. I don't want to manage people in their 20s. You know.
Yeah.
I told the guy, I'm like,
The
look,
cafe, they want to telework.
I don't
Please-
know. And the
Please
new
tell me it's called Danks Dunks.
No, but I was like jokingly offered by this like world award winning barista in California named Frank to start Frank and Dank Cafe. Actually,
Ooh.
You're the pump.
when I was in LA, I met some like famous
Frank
barista
and
guy.
Dank.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. And writing, I'm gonna release my comic soon too. So I'll do a Kickstarter for that. But more details when I'm more prepared.
Nice.
00 Dank, the James Bond of the Tuesday Night Comic News Weekly. Hell yeah.
License to Ill.
Oh,
What do you got for us, Ryan?
Yeah, so I went to the con this weekend. It was a really good time. Got to work and do some stuff with Unknown Comics. I think Andy knows
Daryl.
Darren. Yeah, we got
Darren.
with him, catch up with him, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to go and see a bunch of artists and get to kind of meet them. And like I said, it's cool to meet some of those artists. I think one of my favorite one to meet and chat with was Greg Horn. That guy's just like a ball of energy, really cool, laid back. He's just kind of like he's just a fun guy to talk to, I think. So there's a good possibility that he might be a future guest, and hopefully we'll let y'all know about that when that happens.
Nice. Just like when I opened the show, make sure you guys go to the616comics.com tomorrow, 6 p.m. Can we put that up on the screen? We got that Garbage Pail Kids versus Madballs #1, 500 copies, $19.99. The616comics.com. Again, tomorrow at 6 p.m. That's all I got for my one last thing. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Always enjoy that conversation that goes on in the chat, bringing it into the show here. Again, if you have topics you want to discuss on here, especially for Ryan's surprise topic, we can cover that. Make sure you guys put it in the comments. Shoot us a DM on Instagram, whatever. But with that being said, we will see you guys next week.
Look, they talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers on my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it watching reruns. Say they real, but they clones of me.